Let's do this. Hello, people. Me again. Who's up? Another beautiful day or night. Yep. Hope your five senses work. Hope your health and strength is good. What? And to you Xbox fans, what's up? Xbox Tribe, Xbox Nation, Xbox Universe, Xbox World, Xbox Legion, what's good? Xbox Mob, what's up? We outside. And the Xbox Squad, what's up with it? Hey, you Xbox fans ain't gonna believe this. Listen to this. You know the PlayStation fan base filed a lawsuit against Xbox, right? Listen to this. The article says Call of Duty players file lawsuit to stop Microsoft Activision merger, right? But come on now. We know Xbox players wouldn't file a lawsuit after Microsoft. Xbox players wouldn't file a lawsuit against Microsoft over the Activision Blizzard deal. PC players wouldn't even do that. It's PlayStation and Nintendo fans. Listen to this. This article is funny. Listen to this. In the hopes of stopping Microsoft's ongoing acquisition of Activision Blizzard, a group of Call of Duty players filed a private consumer lawsuit in California against Xbox maker. It's PlayStation fans. Anyway, it says here, per Reuters, the 10 players from California, New Jersey, and New Mexico are taking action against Microsoft to stop it from having far outsized market power and killing competition in the game industry. Okay, first things first. First of all, you PlayStation YouTubers don't want to get into a discussion with me when it comes to video games. Nor does the Nintendo fans. We gonna settle this Activision deal once and for all, man. Because you guys are dead wrong on this. What? First of all, you said Microsoft. Okay. It says 10 players from California, New Jersey. 10 players from California, New Jersey, New Mexico are taking action against Microsoft to stop it from having far outsized market power and killing the competition in the game industry. You are wrong on that part. Let me ask you this. When PlayStation had the rights to Street Fighter V, on our PS4, did that kill the competition? Wasn't the competition like Namco with Soul Calibur 6, Tekken 7, Arc System with Dragon Ball Z Fighters and Guilty Gears Revelators? Weren't they still making games? What about SNK? What do you mean killing the competition? Tell me something. What happened to Sony shooters, Killzone, SOCOM, and Resistance? What happened to those shooters? Why did Sony stop funding those games? And why did Killzone, SOCOM, and Resistance weren't consistent, just like Activision with Call of Duty? Killed the competition. That statement is false. But anyway, we're gonna keep going here. It says here, the complaint further alleged that a successful merger would allow Microsoft to foreclose rivals with limit output, reduce consumer choices, and raise prices and further inhibit competition. Tell me something. Wasn't it Sony who raised the price of their games to $70? Okay. Limit players' choices. Tell me something. When Sony had rights to Final Fantasy VII Remake, didn't Xbox fans was still getting games, regardless if they had Final Fantasy VII Remake or not? Were they still getting their games? Your argument is false. Okay. Anyway, then it says inhibit competition. You do know that there's Battlefield on the market, right? You do know that Capcom has a Lost Planet, right? So why isn't Capcom as consistent with Lost Planet, just like Activision is with Call of Duty? What's their problem? And again, what about Sony and their game? Why aren't they consistent with SOCOM, Resistance, and Killzone? Your argument is false. But anyway, we're going to keep going here. It says here, Anyway, it says here, such complaints have been made by numerous global regulators and also Sony in recent months, but this marks the first real instance of public actively pushback on Microsoft efforts to buy the publisher of Overwatch 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Well, look, you PlayStation fans need to blame Sony for this. You really need to blame Sony for this. They cared more about Call of Duty than the people that work at Activision Blizzard. When that entire company was in turmoil, Sony did not step in. If Sony would have stepped in, Microsoft could have never bought Activision Blizzard. But since Sony got blindsided by Call of Duty, and all they cared about was Call of Duty, they weren't looking at the bigger picture. Activision Blizzard. And that's where Microsoft beat them at. Microsoft is like, oh, you guys are not going to step in? Nintendo, you're not going to step in to help them? Sony, you're not going to step in to help them? Oh, you only care about Call of Duty and that's it? You don't care about these people at Activision Blizzard? Okay, we'll take care of it. 70 billion. Done. Like Phil Spencer said, it's not what they can do for us, it's how can we help you. Nintendo and Sony never cared about Activision Blizzard. They only cared about Call of Duty. Anyway, let me keep going here. It says here, and the plaintiff took things a step further by seeking an order to block Microsoft from acquiring Activision Blizzard, period. Anyway, says here the merger of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard will irreparably harm competition because Microsoft is acquiring and thereby eliminating one of the only few significant rival gaming content creation. The complaint continues. The current future competition between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard will irreparably lost. You guys are wrong again. Let me ask you this. Does the game industry stop because you buy a studio? No, it doesn't. Did the game industry stop moving when Microsoft bought ZeniMax Bethesda? No, it didn't. It kept growing. By the way, when Electronic Arts bought all those studios, did the industry stop? It kept moving. So your argument is false. And what he says, anyway, it says here, as the video game industry continues to grow, thank you, the game industry don't stop. Just because you buy a studio, it keeps going. It keeps going and growing. Okay? 10 people could make a studio right now that's committed to video games. 10 people can make a studio right now and then hire some people to do the rest of the work. The game industry don't stop. Look at the developers of Splitgate when they got that $100 million contract. Anyway, let me keep going here. It says here, as the video game industry continues to grow and evolve, it's critical that we protect the market from a monopolistic merger that will harm consumer in the long run. Let me ask you this. I'm going to say this again. When Sony bought Bungie, did the game industry stop? No, it didn't. You guys are screaming monopoly, but this is not even close. When Sony was hitting Xbox with all those time exclusives, isn't that a monopoly? And when they were hitting Xbox with time exclusive and stopping games from going to Xbox. Isn't that a monopoly? See, the real truth with the Activision Blizzard situation, you offered them no help. When Activision Blizzard was at their weakest point, you never stepped in. You never did. Okay? Nintendo didn't even do it either. Nintendo is a $1 billion company. And Sony's a $1 billion company, just like Microsoft. And Sony and Nintendo never stepped in and offered any assistance. All they cared about was a Call of Duty. And then on top of that, the Call of Duty contract was running out. So common sense ought to tell Sony, like, wait a minute. Why are we worried about Call of Duty when the bigger picture is Activision Blizzard? They did nothing. And that's where Microsoft come in. So Microsoft is right for purchasing Activision Blizzard since Sony and Nintendo did nothing. Anyway, let me keep going here. It says here, Microsoft is also being sued by the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, and at the moment to prevent the merger, but the plaintiffs are allowed to pursue antitrust case in U.S. court, though it's been able to make moves and give response to government agencies about how this benefits the players. The usual spin may be more difficult when it comes to player making their feelings known. Oh boy, that's the end of the article. Let me ask you all this question again. Does the video game industry stop if you buy a studio? No, it doesn't. When Microsoft bought ZeniMax Bethesda, did the game industry stop? Did the industry stop making video games? No, they didn't. They kept moving. When EA was buying all those studios, did the game industry stop? No, it didn't. So how is it that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard? Is going to make for about $70 billion. Is going to make the game industry stop. The video game industry does not stop just because you buy a studio. It keeps growing. Companies are being developed, are being made year by year or month by month. The game industry doesn't stop. Okay? And again, the real problem with the Activision Blizzard deal, Sony and Nintendo never offered any help. They didn't step in. They did not care. They did not care. Sony only cared about Call of Duty. But they did not care about the people who was going through problems at Activision Blizzard. So both the FTC and this lawsuit by the PlayStation fans is fake. It's a fake lawsuit. Let me ask y'all this: if an automaker sells a car, does the and sell one car or sell 10 cars, does the auto industry stop? No, it doesn't. Okay. See, people are making false claim about this this buyout by Microsoft, and it's really not even a monopoly. Sony haven't doing time exclusives. When they were doing right after the Spider-Man deal, they did a whole bunch of time exclusive, back to back to back to back to back, and the Federal Trade Commission did nothing. Okay. When Sony got the rights to Spider-Man and Xbox players couldn't play Spider-Man on Xbox, why didn't the Federal Trade Commission step in then? Oh, they didn't care, huh? But as soon as Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, everybody wants to panic, huh? Like Phil Spencer said in his own words, sales ain't the end all be all to video games. So if Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for almost 70 billion, video games is not going to die. It's going to keep growing. New studios are being formed. Okay? Matter of fact, one of the developers of I think it was 343, they left 343 to go form another gaming studios. So gaming studios are being built. Okay? Kojima left Konami and formed his own studio, and they're making what, Death Stranding 2. So how is Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard? It's going to make the game industry stop, and it's going to stop competition. I mean, where's the logic in that statement? I mean, in you guys' argument. The game industry is like the ocean. It keeps moving. It keeps growing. Okay? Let me tell you, PlayStation players, something. Know your argument first before you step in the courtroom. If you're going to file a lawsuit, know your argument. Because you PlayStation fans wouldn't want to deal with me in court about this situation. Not even the FTC want to deal with me. Let me ask you this again. When EA Sports was buying all those studios, did the game industry stop completely? No, it didn't. When Microsoft bought ZeniMax Bethesda, did the game industry stop? Did competition stop? When Sony had exclusive rights to Street Fighter V, did competition in the fighting game community stop? No, it didn't. Because SNK was still making King of Fighters, Arc System was still making Guilty Gears and Dragon Ball Z Fighters, plus Xenoverse. Namco was still making Tekken and Soul Calibur, and Sega with Virtual Fighter. Know your argument before you get in the courtroom. Okay? The Federal Trade Commission wouldn't want to deal with me, man. Trust me on that. Okay? When it comes to this situation. This whole situation boils down to Sony and Nintendo not caring about Activision Blizzard until Microsoft dropped 70 billion on them. That's when everybody started caring. When the turmoil was going on, no, Sony and Nintendo did nothing. And they are a billion-dollar company like Microsoft. You sure you want to argue with me about this situation? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video for y'all to enjoy it. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Or Dark Side. Go.